Galamera, 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 how you doing? Well, can't believe it is now the 2nd of November. Again, it's a beautiful day here in Macardo. The chickens have been visiting. All the cats seem to be off out and playing. I don't blame them in weather like this. It's absolutely glorious. Yanni's still doing his olives, but not here, but down in Kalamaki where I was yesterday afternoon. And can I just say a big hello to all those people I caught up with yesterday afternoon in Kalamaki. Big shout out to Mike and Maureen, Claude as well. Nice to get in touch with him as well. And also, who else? Oh yeah, Jane round at the Alexander Bar. Nice to see you, and Sheila as well, because I know Jane will be looking out for how things are going. Right, so at the moment, our upstairs neighbours are busy washing their balconies down. I think we've got a few more people moved in at the moment with what's going on. The family of the doctor upstairs to us live in Athens and Patra, and I think they've come over maybe to escape from what's been going on. Right then, quickly switch myself around. And here is some of the news for today. Let's have a look. Where am I? Okay, here we go. Right, 2nd of November then. COVID stats are in at the moment. Over the weekend, just reported this morning, we had 1,678 new cases of COVID virus. We also had, unfortunately, 9 more deaths. So that brings total now for cases on the island, in Greece since it started, to 40,929. Deaths have now risen to 635. Also at the moment, the ICUs have seen an increase as well. 140 people are in ICUs across the country, and 291 people have passed through the ICUs since the epidemic started. Again, as I said before, no figures on testing. Yes, a lot of increase in numbers on cases, no figures on testing as to how many tests have been carried out since the pandemic started, so you can do a comparison on that. And also as well, no information on positive, false positives, etc. as well, which were a problem. So at the moment, the country is ramping up in the same way that United Kingdom is ramping up as well. Right, so tomorrow then, the new wave of restrictions, which I spoke about yesterday, they will come into effect tomorrow with the closing of bars and restaurants in high-risk areas and the mandatory wearing of masks by everybody, regardless of what section you're in, whether you're in the A group or the B group. Just to remind you that Zakynthos are in the A group, which is technically the low-risk group, and the B group is high-risk group. Also as well, a nationwide curfew will start tomorrow as well from midnight, running through till 5 o'clock in the morning. And that means that there's a restriction on people moving about, obviously, during that curfew. No vehicles to be out on the roads, people to be in their homes. And this is across the country again, despite whether you're in the A group or the B group, as regards to your location in Greece. However, the Prime Minister has said that this is only for a month. One of the reasons is to take pressure off the ICUs to try and cut down on infection. But one thing he has said, that he is trying not to completely close down the economy during this lockdown. So in the high-risk areas, yes, there's going to be a mandatory closing of bars and restaurants. However, bars and restaurants will be allowed to do takeaway services in the same way that the bars and restaurants did that on the first round of the lockdown. Now, as for travel restrictions, there are no travel restrictions within the country. You can still get around in the country. Unlike the last time we had a lockdown where there were travel restrictions in moving around the country from one area to another, those travel restrictions are not in place. So you can still get about. If you arrive in the country, you can still get to Zakynthos by driving, etc., as long as you're not on the road after midnight. So again, that is a positive in a way. Yes, the bars and restaurants that will be affected with the closure. The Prime Minister also announced a 5.5 billion funding. Not exactly what the detail on that funding is. That's not been made very clear, to be quite honest. But anyway, 1.5 billion euros is going to go towards bars and restaurants and businesses that are affected by the close down. Now, interestingly enough, even businesses in the high risk area, such as cinemas, gyms, theatres, museums, banks and retail stores will remain open, but not the bars and restaurants. So they will remain open despite the fact that they are in a higher tier of the lockdown. And again, that is to basically keep the economy turning and burning. And the reason that restaurants and bars were hit for closure is simply because Greek health experts have said that most of infections are coming from bars and restaurants where people aren't social distancing. More close contact has been going on in there, and bars and restaurants are seen as a high risk area. So unfortunately, the bars and the restaurants are going to bear the brunt. But don't forget, little loophole, if you're doing takeaway service, you can still technically be open. However, people can't stay on your premises. The delivery is obviously collected and taken away, but at least it gives you a kind of a lifeline to stay open if you're in one of those areas. Yeah, the Greek health ministry said that the ICUs are under pressure, and if these measures are not taken, they reckon that they could run out of beds in 10 to 15 days. So at the moment, these restrictions starting tomorrow are for a month. Okay, so technically, what is it tomorrow? The 3rd of November. So maybe the 3rd of December. This is when it will. We'll see if it stops or if it gets ramped up. Again, we're all watching it with interest. A lot of people asking questions yesterday. What's happening to Lady Jane? Is Lady Jane trying to come back at the moment? Yes, she is trying to get back. She's looking to maybe get a flight from Manchester or somewhere before everything shuts down over in the UK. And obviously get into Athens and then obviously make her way from Athens. I'm going to suggest to her today that I think she might take a shuttle flight from Athens to get across to Zakynthos. Might mean having to wait a little longer up at the airport rather than going into town, into Athens itself, and then obviously getting the bus from there across, because I know she didn't like wearing a mask flying out, and she certainly won't be liking wearing a mask on the buses and on the ferries as well as part of the lockdown. So again, thank you for those people who've been asking about Jane, how she's getting on in the UK, but she is trying to get back, and again, I think there's more worry over there than what there is over here. More news then for you. An interesting little story. A presidential decree for the extension of territorial waters around the Ionian Sea, extending from 6 to 12 miles, has been submitted to the Council of State. Now, the Council of State is Greece's highest administrative court for legal legal checks. Anyway, it's expected that the presidential decree will be signed by the Greek president, who is Katrina, I'll get this right, Katrina Skalapala, I think is how you pronounce it, before it becomes law. Now, the exact, the area that really is going to be affected by this extension of coastlines is basically from north of Corfu to Albania. Now, in good faith, Albania is accepting or the Prime Minister of Albania is accepting this extension of the coastline, of the Greek coastline towards their country. But at the moment, it's looking like the Albanian president is not in favour of what's going on. There are elections coming up in Albania, and it is felt that these elections may delay the signing from the Albanian side as to the agreement for this extension of Greek territorial waters. So again, we'll keep a little eye on that story. We have a lot of Albanians who live here, and a lot of Albanians cross the border to go visit family and friends, etc. And so it'd be interesting to see how that all plays out, especially with all the saber rattling that's been going on with Turkey and Greece at the moment over extension of territorial waters. Also as well, more news is coming out about the earthquake in Samos. The death toll now in Turkey has risen to 60 people. Samos, luckily, unluckily in some ways, had 2 deaths. 2 teenagers were killed by falling masonry. At the moment, the Geodynamic Institute of Athens has said that the island must prepare for more strong shocks. It seems that they've now pinpointed the epicenter of the actual earthquake as to a fault line, which is 40 kilometers long. Now, this fault line has actually increased because of the tsunami that took place, or it was a small tsunami that took place after the initial 6.7 is the rating that the Athens Institute is giving. This has obviously made this fault line bigger. It's now up to 1.5 to 2 meters wider on both sides of the fault. And they've obviously warned that, yeah, more strong aftershocks could be on the way or will be on the way. And obviously people on the island are obviously taking appropriate action as well. Right, I've got some good news for you. And this is for anybody who's got any money saved, or anybody who has managed to make a bit of a profit over the coming the last season. The good news is that as of today, sales start here in Greece, not just in Zakynthos, but across the country. For those people who are not aware, Greek Chamber of Commerces have such a strong hold on business, the retail sector across the country, that they can actually set when sales are happening. You know, in England, we're always used to seeing sale this, sale that, and we're used to the traditional summer sales and Christmas sales and etc. But in Greece, they're actually setting law. So you can't have a sale off your own back in your business, but it's all like done to basically protect each other's businesses, etc. But anyway, the sales start today, and the sales will run from today until the 14th of November. And there's also talks about changing the timings for openings at the moment, from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Because of, obviously, with the coronavirus issues and close downs and stuff like that, sliding the opening hours to a little bit later, so people don't have to sort of go home at 2 o'clock in the afternoon to come back in again at 5. There's talk of opening shops at 11 a.m. in the morning and then going through till 6 p.m, which, to be honest, makes more sense, and especially in a capital like Athens, more sense as well, because then you don't get 2 rush hours of people going to work in the morning, then returning home, going to work for the evening, and then returning home. So maybe a little bit of common sense is maybe starting to prevail, and going to a little bit more of the normal shop hours that we get in the rest of Europe and also in the UK as well. Right, let's have a look and see who's tuning in at the moment. I see lots of names coming up. Emily Shanti is watching. Nice to have you looking in, Emily. Also, Jane McKay Gunn is also tuning in. She says, morning, Ginge. Steve Hinkling says, good morning as well. How's the weather in Stoke-on-Trent, Steve? Let us know. That's where Jane is at the moment, in that area. Charles Ballantyne is also tuning in. Old Chick Ballantyne, ex-Raffridge mate, is tuning in. Steve Hinckley is watching. He's already said that. I'll get him a wave back. There you go. Patrick Curtin is tuning in as well. He says, morning, Ginge. Colonis Makis is watching in as well. Nice to have you tuning in as well, Clonis. I'm not sure where you are, I'm just wondering if that's Makis over in Milton Keynes. I'm just curious. I'll check that after the show. Tim Crystal, our Elvis, he's tuning in from Oxford. Nice to see you looking in as well, fella. Kevin Bell is also watching as well. Margaret Black, nice to have you tuning in as well, Margaret. Danny Holland Parker is looking in as well. Andrew the Fridge Watkins, all the way down there in Wales, is tuning in as well. How's my Welsh accent going? Any better? No? Okay, fair enough. Chris Jones is watching as well. A nice friend of mine, DJ Ping over there in India is also tuning in as well. Nice to have you. Somebody's just said weather vile. I got a feeling that could be Steve Hinkling. How's the weather in India at the moment? Is it monsoon time there at the moment? Is it chucking it down? A little blast from the past is tuning in. An old mate of mine, Frank Proud from my RAF Reg days. Really nice to see you tuning in, fella. We'll have to have a chat and see how you're getting on, because I've not heard from you in a very, very long time. All right, so anyway, nice to have you tuning in, Frank. Also, Graham Bint over there in Australia. Author and also podcaster, really nice guy. He's got some very good books on post-traumatic stress disorder, which you might be interested in having a look at. So look out for the name Graham Bint, good buddy of mine over there in Australia. I don't know what the weather's like over there at the moment. Probably very, very hot at the moment. The weather here at the moment is still very, very good. Glenn Stanley is watching as well. Robert Earp is also tuning in. He says, morning, Ginge. A bit of sun in Wales this morning. Lucky Wales. And also Lyndon is watching. He's in Wales as well. He's probably enjoying the sun as well. Dave Camp is tuning in. He says, Galimera Ginge, thank you. And he's written that in Greek as well. And also, Dave, thank you for the picture which I uploaded early this morning onto my YouTube of Sandy the cat sitting on my shoulders when I was doing the podcast yesterday. Everybody's going, oh, what a lovely cat. Yeah, Sandy boy, absolutely lovely fella. Again, a rescued cat as well. Andrew the Fridge Watkins says, we had a horrendous couple of days with torrential rain, very, very strong winds, but some blue skies at the moment. Yes, somebody else said there was a bit of sun down there in Wales over there. Anyway, cheers for that, mate. Maureen Elves is also tuning in. Thank you, Maureen. I was with Michael Maureen yesterday down at Melon Bar in Kalamaki. You may have seen the little video clip of the huge fish, which we still don't know what it was. It translates as the magical fish. I said it's not mackerel. They said it's definitely not tuna. So the unknown fish. So if you please want to try and tell us what that fish is, we'd love to know. Riccardo Moriani is also tuning in as well. Nice to have you tuning in. That's a very Italian sounding name. Where do I know you from? I will check later. Teresa Ann Huggett, nice to have you in as well. Amanda Gregory up the road there. She is also very, very busy at the moment. How you doing, Amanda? Nice to have you tuning in. Esm Jade, is that how you say it? Esma Jade Herbert. Oh, that's unusual. I don't recognise you, but anyway, thank you for tuning in. Nice to see you. Steve Hinkling is saying weather is vile. Steve that's saying that. And Andrew the Fridge Watkins, nope. I think that's my Welsh accent is not getting any better. Okay, cheers for that, fella. So, Dave Camp, don't mention it, he says. Thank you very much, Dave. Pam Stott is watching. Stefan Hammer is also watching. He says, Galimera, DJ Ginge. Don't forget Stefan Hammer's cat, what do you call it? Zanti Cat Cam. It's well worth a little look in and have a look, see how they're doing. I've had he's an ex-Rock Ape written down there. I don't know who that is from. I'll find out in a minute. Patrick Curtin, he is an ex-Raff Reg Rock Ape. I think that could be the, what's his name? The guy up there. Ricardo Morani. There you go. Anyway, Raff Reg again tuning in. Really nice to see. So what's happening today then for me? Well, today, I'm not really sure. I think today is just a day of administrative duties to do. I know with Jane we're trying to sort getting her back over to here. She's checking on how things are going and flights, etc. Obviously panicking about what might happen in the UK with Boris locking everything down completely. At least here, it's not a complete lockdown. There's still free movement. We might have to wear a mask all the time, which is a pain that it is. But again, I must admit, talking to people yesterday down at Melon Bar, tourists as well as locals, can I just say now, if you want to get over to Zakynthos and stay for what will be the lockdown of the UK, because that's starting Thursday, now might be a good chance to do it. Take a chance, get over, come to Zakynthos or wherever else you like in Greece, and maybe stay there and have like a long extended holiday, as it were, and leave the madness of the UK behind you, or wherever you are in Europe. Even though we're having a few issues here, I feel a lot better here and a lot better for myself than I would be feeling back in the UK, to be quite honest, with the craziness that's going on. So once again, there are people still who will take bookings for rooms. If you need somewhere to stay, just go online to wherever it is that you normally would stay. Ask them if they may have a few rooms left open, or they may say they might actually have accommodation or know somebody with accommodation for those people who want to stay and come over for while the lockdown goes on in the UK. And you probably might feel a lot better for it. The weather is still lovely. The air is still great. The pace of life is fantastic. Yeah, we'll have a lockdown at midnight till 5 in the morning, but that's a good time to get some sleep, isn't it? And recharge those batteries and prepare to carry on with life, all right? So it might not all be bad, but at least you can get around, you can get here and enjoy yourself still to a degree, and have a sense of freedom, all right, which you're probably not feeling back in the UK. Right, that's it from me. Thank you once again for all the shouts and support. Just to remind you, don't forget I have a show again programmed to go live on Wednesday afternoon, 3 o'clock in the UK till 5 o'clock, or 5 o'clock till 7 o'clock in Greece. Okay, last week I did 2.5 hours because I just really enjoyed it. Oh, and by the way, the Halloween special from last week, that's now gone up to number 28 in the pop chart and number 10 in the reggae chart. Again, I'm just amazed how it's doing, how the shows I do just keep charting. So again, if you have any requests or dedications or any messages, just pop them below in the comments, and I will collate them all. And then obviously you can request stuff on the evening or the afternoon, wherever you are, and I'll play them for you with the video up on YouTube, Switch, Mixcloud, and obviously Facebook before it gets taken down. All right, but anyway, you have a good day, you enjoy yourselves, and I'll catch you later. Ta-ra.